पीतांशुके पृथुनितं विस्फुरन्त्या काञ्चालिविर्विरुतया वनमालया च गर्गप्रकोष्ठवलयं विनता सुतांसे न्यस्तहस्तमितरेण गुणानमब्जम् पीत अंशुके covered with a yellow cloth Prithunitambini on his large hips Vispurantya shining brightly Kancha with a girdle Alibihi by the bees Virutaya humming Vanamalaya with a garland of fresh flowers. Normally Vanamali or Vanamal Mala means forest flower, garland made of forest flowers. But here you see the meaning. Vanamalaya with a garland of fresh flowers. So Sanskrit is always like that. You should take the meaning in the context. You cannot take one meaning and apply it everywhere. Cha and Valvo, lovely. Prakoshta, wrists. Valayam, bracelets. Vinata Sutta of Garuda, the son of Vinata. Amse on the shoulder, Vinyasta rested, Hastam one hand, Itarena with another hand, Dhunanam being twirled, Abjam a lotus flower. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. He was adorned with a girdle that shone brightly on the yellow cloth covering his large hips, and he bore a garland of fresh flowers which was distinguished by humming bees. His lovely wrists were graced with bracelets, and he rested one of his hands on the shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, and twirled a lotus with another hand. Please repeat this translation after me. He was adorned with a girdle that shone brightly on the yellow cloth covering his large hips, and he wore a garland of fresh flowers which was distinguished by humming bees. His lovely wrists were graced with bracelets, and he rested one of his hands on the shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, and twirled a lotus with another hand. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here is a full description of the personality of Godhead as personally experienced by the sages. The Lord's personal body was covered with yellow robes, and his waist was thin. In Vaikuntha, whenever there is a flower garland on the chest of the personality of Godhead or any one of his associates, it is described that the humming bees are there. All these features were very beautiful and attractive for the devotees. One of the Lord's hands rested on his carrier Garuda, and in another hand he twirled a lotus flower. These are personal characteristics of the personality of Godhead Narayana. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjalishalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Bhagavatam we can get very nice descriptions of the personality of Godhead, His beauty, His qualities, His activities, His names, His glorification, His abode, His paraphernalia. All this we can get. That's how Bhagavatam is very special. Exclusively it describes the details about the Lord and His devotees. Nothing else is there. Even though Bhagavatam is philosophically very detailed and thorough, but the wonderful thing about Bhagavatam is it is having the philosophy and it is philosophy presented while describing the Supreme Lord and His devotees. This is a special feature of the Bhagavatam, that in the purport Srila Prabhupada brings out the philosophical points in understanding the beauty of the Lord. As soon as we talk about beauty, the Mayavadis will say, oh, we are not interested in all this beauty and all that. But for them, beauty means Maya. Quality means Maya. Form means Maya. Personality means Maya. So they are completely missing this transcendental description in the Bhagavatam, and they are sitting like ignorant people in the material world, or struggling somewhere in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Till they become devotees, this is their position. Whereas devotees, they neither aim for any liberation, nor they are entangled in the material world. Devotees are liberated souls. Wherever they are, whatever they are doing, they simply engaged in devotional service to Krishna. That's all. There is no other work or anxiety or concern, nothing. So this is what the Bhagavatam explains. Narayana para sarve nakutaschana bibhyati swargapavarga narakeshu tulyartha api darshanaha. This is the opulence of the devotees of Narayana, the pure devotees. Narayana para. They are fully dedicated to Narayana, the Supreme Personality of God. So they are not afraid even they are sent to hell. They really don't care. no fear. They're fearless, always fearless. So the description here, as Srila Prabhupada says, here is a full description of the personality of Godhead as personally experienced by the sages. This is very significant because these sages were impersonalists before they entered Vaikuntha. They were impersonalists. How can they be impersonalists if they have seen the form of the Lord in the heart? It was told, no? The form they had seen in meditation, in Samadhi, the same form they are seeing in front of them. That was described earlier. Correct? So how can they be impersonal before they enter Vaikuntha if they have already seen the form of the Lord in the heart? What's the reason? Raghava Sharan. That is the understanding. Brahman manifests a form, material form. So this theory, Mayavada theory, that Brahman assumes a form in the material world. When we say incarnation, Mayavadis think, oh, Brahman's form. For him, everything is form, everyone is form of Brahman only. Even the living entity is form of Brahman. So actually, the understanding of the Mayavadis is completely wrong. Completely wrong. It's very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Because they undergo severe austerities to understand what is Brahman. They are considered serious transcendentalists. They are very serious transcendentalists. They are not casual readers of the Vedas or... No, they are very serious transcendentalists. But they are unfortunate. Elsewhere they are described as pitiable. Their condition is very sorry condition. They are neither like the materialists who in ignorance are simply trying to enjoy, and they come to knowledge, these materialists, about devotional service. Then immediately they take up devotional service and they become perfect very quickly. And those who are pure devotees anyway, they are situated in perfection only. They are liberated. In between these Mayavadis, neither you can preach to them, nor can you tell, oh, they are not interested in spiritual life. They are very, very seriously interested in spiritual subject matter. But they are stuck up. And it is very, very, very difficult to preach to them. Very difficult to preach to them. That's why you find even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, among the so many people he delivered, very few were Mayavadis. Ordinary beggars, ordinary people, they were all very easily delivered. But somebody like Sarvam Bhattacharya, how much of discussion and what all the Lord had to do. Prakashananda Saraswati. Very, very difficult. Mayavadis. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants. Please be very, very, very careful never to hear anything about Mayavada. From the lips of Mayavadis, of course. What is Mayavada? That you can hear from Prabhupada, you can hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can hear from pure devotees. But never hear about Mayavada from the Mayavadis. Very, very, very dangerous. One scholar told me, there is one Mayavadi commentator. His name is Madhusudan Saraswati. So he has glorified Krishna a lot. And one scholar who comes for some of the seminars that is organized in our temple in Bangalore, Mayavadi scholar. So he says, when it comes to Krishna, there is no need to give evidence that Krishna is absolute truth. Krishna is the ultimate reality. No need to give any evidence. Because Madhusudan Saraswati says like that. Krishna is the absolute truth. So then I asked him, generally Mayavadis don't accept Krishna as the absolute truth. Then I went and asked him, you mean the person Krishna who incarnated, he is the absolute truth? That's what Madhusudan Saraswati is telling? He said, yes. Then I said, what is the background of this Madhusudan Saraswati? Can you just tell me? Then he is telling me that before he came in contact with Shankaracharya's philosophy, he was a Gaudiya Vaishnava. I said, my God, now I understand. Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Maya Vada Bhashya Shunile Hoy Sarva Nash. He was a first class Gaudiya Vaishnava. Nice Gaudiya Vaishnava. That's why he's got so much regard for Krishna. And he says, as far as Krishna is concerned, you don't have to even consider any evidence and all. Krishna is the absolute truth. So who will say that other than Gaudiya Vaishnava or the Vaishnava? Who will tell that? Only a Vaishnava will tell that, isn't it? So he was a Vaishnava who became a Mayavadi. Among Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, one of his associates, there was some rumor going on that he goes and hears some Mayavadi speaker who's speaking on spiritual subject matter. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that rumor. He said, I don't want to see his face. I don't want to see his face even. Let him come nowhere near. And all of you should be very careful never to associate with him. He told his other associates. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, 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 very particular that Mayavada commentary or Mayavada talk, never give your ears. Very, very dangerous, very dangerous. No dangerous than association of materialists, association of sense enjoyers. Sense enjoyers association is also dangerous. But Mayavada association is very, 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 very dangerous. So here is a full description of the personality of Godhead as personally experienced by the sages. these sages had an impersonal understanding of the absolute truth. Now, two kinds of impersonalists, please always remember this. Those who are on the path of progress in spiritual understanding, they gradually understand what is matter, what is spirit. And spirit also they understand actually belongs to spiritual nature. And that spiritual nature is the nature of the absolute truth. And the understanding of the absolute truth as spiritual by nature is called Brahman. And that Brahman is the absolute truth. So this kind of progressive understanding, one is on the progressive path of spiritual enlightenment, gradually progressing from understanding what is matter to understanding what is spirit, the difference between the two. Like Krishna, how does he begin the Bhagavad Gita? Difference between matter and spirit, difference between body and soul, difference between material nature and spiritual nature. Correct? Second chapter. That's the beginning of spiritual knowledge or spiritual understanding. Exactly the way Krishna progressively takes us through in the Bhagavad Gita. Same way Krishna can take us through this progressive understanding very quickly in the Bhagavad Gita. But somebody is not fortunate to hear the Bhagavad Gita from a devotee. Even if they study the Bhagavad Gita, they gradually make progress. Because they will be thinking, Krishna who is speaking the Bhagavad Gita, even though Vyasadeva particularly says Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Vyasadeva is not written Sri Krishna Vacha. Everybody else he writes Arjuna Vacha, Sanjaya Vacha, Dhritarashtra Vacha, Vidura Vacha, in Bhagavatam also. Correct? Only when it comes to Krishna, Vyasadeva is particularly saying Sri Bhagavan Vacha. And Prabhupada explains who is Bhagavan, what is Bhagavan, why Bhagavan Vacha, clearly explains 2.2 Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So these people who are on the progressive path of spiritual enlightenment, they cannot understand till it is explained by a devotee that Krishna is not another conditioned soul, or Krishna is not another great soul of this world. No. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. That they will not understand. Because what happens in the scriptures, sometimes great devotees are also referred as Bhagavan. Bhagavan Narada. Narada is not the absolute truth. Narada is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they will think great transcendentalists are also called Bhagavan, no? In the Bhagavatam or Puranas and all that. Mahabharata also, somewhere there will be reference to some great personality also as Bhagavan. So when Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, which is part of Mahabharata, Bhagavan Vacha, that means some great person is speaking. They don't understand this, not great person, it is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, that they won't understand. So to understand that, either they have to progressively come through the spiritual enlightenment, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, or they have to hear from a devotee. They have to learn from a devotee what is the absolute truth. Only devotees can explain absolute truth as personality of God, Bhagavan. Nobody else can explain. So these Kumaras, till they entered Vaikuntha, they never heard, they never understood, they never knew about the personal feature of the absolute truth. In the absence of the knowledge of the personal feature of the absolute truth, there is only understanding of the impersonal feature, Brahman, and somebody who's little more advanced in meditation is able to meditate on the Paramatma within the heart, but without knowledge that there is personal feature in the spiritual world. Without that knowledge, what will they think? This Paramatma is that Brahman present as Paramatma. The absolute truth present as Paramatma. That's what they will think. And that's what their understanding will be of Paramatma. So, the Kumaras are seeing Vaikuntha. That form which they saw in their heart in meditation, that same form they are seeing in front of them. And this experience of seeing face to face is different than seeing in meditation. Yesterday we heard that, no? That is difference, correct? Even devotees who are able to perceive the form in the heart, Shama Sundara form itself, not Paramatma form, Shama Sundara form, even they perceive in the heart, it is not the same as seeing the Lord face to face. It's not the same. Seeing face to face is like, who is his personality? It's a totally new revelation, seeing the Lord face to face. Unfortunately, when the Lord incarnates, people can see him face to face. Anybody can see. But most people think, oh, he is son of Vasudeva. He is a Kshatriya. Or they see in Vrindavan, oh, he is a cowherd boy, son of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj is a cowherd man, his son. So this way they will not recognize. Then how is that Kumaras are able to recognize? Because they have gone to Vaikuntha. They have entered Vaikuntha. And what is the speciality about Vaikuntha as opposed to all other planets? For them, Vaikuntha is also a planet. But in Vaikuntha, as it was described earlier, if you carefully study or hear the description, that all the Vaikuntha planets predominated by one person. Unlike the material world, every planet is predominated by one Devata. And there is relativity also. Vaikuntha planets absolute, no relativity. And every planet predominated by one person, Narayana. So this Narayana is not another Devata. Is not another Devata. And his features, his personal features, even the features of Vaikuntha are completely different than features of the heavenly planets, the features of Marloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka, any loka. Compared to that, Vaikuntha is far, far, far more glorious. So all these experience of the Kumaras is enlightenment of the personal feature of the Absolute Truth. Can you imagine how much austerity they have done, how much study they have done, how much meditation they have done, and after all that, there is a personal feature. And compared to them, we are so fortunate because of the mercy of Prabhupada. Just somebody starts coming to ISKCON, immediately hears about personal feature. Immediately. So fortunate, no? We don't have to wait for millions and billions of lifetimes of hard struggle, severe austerities. We don't have to wait for that. So we are very, 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 very fortunate. We can't imagine how fortunate we are. And we are directly reading and hearing, directly reading or hearing. Kumaras were impersonalists and they did not know about the personality of Godhead. They suddenly seen the form of the Lord. Who is this personality? That means unlike any other personality they have seen before. That is also a special feature of their seeing the Lord. Unlike not even like the devotees in the Vaikuntha Loka. Not even like the devotees in the Vaikuntha Loka. Exceptionally different. See, in Vaikuntha, one special feature is that the other inhabitants, they look like Narayana. They also have four hands, they also have Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, they also have yellow dress. Similar. They look like Narayana. But there are distinguishing features of Narayana. Millions and billions of devotees, amidst them Narayana stands out, completely different. Only uninformed, those who are not spiritually advanced, they will say Narayana and Vishnuduta look same. Even if they hear Narayana has got a Srivatsa mark on the chest, oh, this person has got something different. Okay. Otherwise he's same, no? Otherwise he's same. So this is not simply some one different mark is there, that's all. Otherwise he's same. No. Exceptionally different, completely different actually. Just like in our material world we have experience, I have experienced at least. When I entered, I think 9th standard, some new admission happened. Twins, they were admitted to my class. They got transferred from some other Kendriya Vidyalaya or something like that. So first day when we all see twins, most of us, we can't tell one from the other. Immediately we cannot tell. So closely observe, so many differences you come to know. Is it not? They are not at all identical. They look similar, but actually so many differences. So much so that we begin to notice the differences one after, because of close contact. We only keep noticing the differences. Because all the time, otherwise twins we think are identical. They are not at all identical. There are so many differences. And then the other class friends, they will tell, how do you distinguish between these two brothers? They are twins. So those who are in close contact, they say no difficulty at all distinguishing them. Very, very easy. Because in the school there is one more difficulty, that everybody wears uniform and they are in the same class also, and they used to sit next to each other also. So not easy to tell the difference. For somebody who is not in that class, it's very difficult to tell the difference. So similarly, even though the inhabitants of Vaikuntha look like the Supreme Lord, or Supreme Lord looks like the inhabitants, but there are a lot of differences. Everything is different. The garland that the Supreme Lord wears has got a special name. What is that garland called? Vaijayanti Mala. Vaijayanti Mala. The club he holds is different. It's called Kaumodaki. Everything is unique about the Supreme Lord's features. He has got qualities which none of the devotees have. Some qualities, many qualities, not some. He has unlimited qualities. None of the devotees will have unlimited qualities. And so, in this way, you can go on listing what are the differences between Narayana and Vishnu Duta. You can go on listing. So you can take up that assignment if somebody is interested. Go through Bhagavatam, and wherever descriptions are there in the Bhagavatam of Narayana or the Vishnu Dutas, write down the differences, not the similarities. Don't write the similarities. Write down the differences. And you should quote the verse. When you describe a difference, you should quote the verse or quote Prabhupada's purport. You should back up by quotation, specific quotation. You will see so many differences, so many differences. So this is the full description of the personality of Godhead as personally experienced by the sages. The Lord's personal body was covered with yellow robes and his waist was thin. These are all exquisitely beautiful features. That's what Prabhupada says later. All these features were very beautiful and attractive for the devotees. And mind you, only devotees can get attracted to such beauty as something very special. If somebody is a non-devotee sees the Lord, if you ask him, how is the form of this person? Don't say Lord, how is the form of this person? Oh, he is very nice to look at. They will not notice anything exceptionally beautiful. Like it happens to us, no? Sometimes standing and watching, having darshan of the Supreme Lord in his deity form, suddenly some girl comes, gaze will go away. And unless you are cautious, you will be carried away. Is it not? Then That is the position of non-devotees or position of neophytes. Fact, it's a fact. Because we have not yet got attraction for the exceptional beauty of the Lord. That we have to be aware. I have not yet developed that attraction. If I have developed that attraction, once I have darshan, my eyes will be glued to the Lord. Just like these Kumaras. Nobody else, nothing else will be distracting. Not possible. And when you hear memories of Srila Prabhupada, this devotee is described. They say when Prabhupada used to come in the airport, actually I don't have any such memory, next time I'll try to bring. They saw everyone is waiting to see Prabhupada, because sometimes he comes out of the airport, so many gates and all that customs and immigration and so many things are there, no? They're waiting. So the moment Prabhupada appears, everybody's eyes is glued to Prabhupada. And they describe the glowing effulgence of Prabhupada's form. And I'd heard this a lot. But recently, while seeing one DVD recording, of course in the YouTube I was seeing, I saw when Prabhupada came out of the airport, the glow around his face, clearly I could see. Do you compare that with the person next, the servant is also coming with Prabhupada? Can see extraordinary, it's extraordinary, completely. So Bhagavatam promises us that simply if you hear nicely or read very much focused, nicely read Prabhupada's books, you can get attracted to this description itself. Can get attracted to the description. The description is as good as seeing the Lord. Prabhupada says one can see Krishna in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Directly you can see. You can be in the middle of the pastime. You can be in Vrindavan just by reading, provided you are able to get absorbed in the descriptions. So this is very, very special, this Bhagavatam description. It is the person Krishna has incarnated in the form of Bhagavatam. This incarnation of the person Krishna with his devotees, with his abode, with his incarnations, with his paraphernalia. So there is no difference between Kumara seeing the form of Narayana and Vyasadeva, or more specifically here Vyasadeva quoting Brahma, describing to the Devatas the form that was seen by the Kumaras. No difference. It's identical. Experience-wise, it's identical. No difference at all. So what happens if somebody gets absorbed in reading or hearing or remembering these descriptions? They can get completely absorbed, so much so that nothing else in the material world will look attractive. This can happen to a devotee. Any devotee it can happen. So no more Maya. No more Maya. In the material world, no Maya. No distraction from Maya. And this can happen not only Bhagavatam. When you are chanting Hare Krishna, you nicely hear and chant. You can get completely absorbed, no distraction. As Prabhupada says, mind gets locked up. In chanting and hearing, mind gets locked up. In tasting prasadam, if you are able to properly taste prasadam, sevom mukhehi jikhvadau. If you can taste prasadam nicely, you can get absorbed in Krishna consciousness. That's why the prayer is very important. Sharira, Vidyaja, Gudendriya, Tahikal. That prayer is very, very important. That can help you to completely get absorbed in relishing prasadam, the remnants of mercy of Krishna Balaram, Gaurnitai. So that way our world can become world of Krishna consciousness. Our world can become the world of Krishna consciousness. Then we are living in Vaikuntha. We are not living in some material planet, material city. No. We are residents of Vaikuntha. Especially lockdown period, we don't even go out. Krishna is telling why you want to get distracted from all that nonsense outside. Stay here, focus on Krishna, Balaram, Gaurnitai, deities, do all seva, every day take prasadam, including Balya Bhog, Raj Bhog, everything you take. And completely get absorbed in this. No other business. This is the opportunity, rare opportunity. Before lockdown, somebody would have said, Prabhu, I want to stay in the temple whole day. No, you cannot stay in the temple whole day. Unless you got some service in the kitchen or duty or something. If you have service outside, you cannot stay whole day in the temple. You have to go out. So somebody would have thought, no, someday if I get a chance to stay in the temple whole day, I can be fully Krishna conscious, no distraction. Then someday he gets a chance to remain in the temple, outsiders come and create distraction. So then the devotee will be thinking, if outsiders don't come, I can peacefully do my chanting, my service, my reading. That also Krishna said, okay. Outsiders will not come. You can be in the temple and outsiders also will not come. See, it's actually fantasy come true. That's what happens in Krishna consciousness. You know what is fantasy? Fantasy is this imagination these karmis have. If it were like that, it would be very nice. If it were like that. Devotees sometimes have this fantasy, Krishna conscious fantasies. If I could remain in temple, if there were no outsiders to distract me. So if Krishna said, okay, Krishna said, okay, some other time I will describe all the fantasies in my personal life that have come true. And other devotees I have heard, their fantasies come true. In spiritual life I am talking, not material life, spiritual life. All of us are now experienced to that. We will talk in a later generation, devotees, we will say. 30 years later, Radha will be telling, you know what, 30 years back, we were in the temple. Nobody comes to a temple. Every day we eat all the prasadam. Yeah, really? They will not getting any idea. You can't even imagine. Lockdown? What is lockdown? Imagine children who are born after this lockdown is all over. This whole coronavirus thing is forgotten. Say 2 years later, 2022, children who are born. They grow up. 20-year-old somebody becomes devotee. Raghav Sharma will preach and make him a devotee. Then one day Raghav Sharma will describe him, 20 years back there was something called, 22 years back there was something called lockdown. Prabhu, what is lockdown? Prabhu, what is it? So what I am saying is this, in Krishna consciousness, you don't have to wait for experience for becoming an advanced devotee, for becoming eligible to go to Vaikuntha. No need for any eligibility. No need. The descriptions of Vaikuntha are as good as entering Vaikuntha. And this is reality about Bhagavatam. It is not somebody's imagination. None of this is, even you don't have the facility of imagining and conceiving in the mind. These are all inconceivable. Where can you conceive all this? Nobody can conceive. Nobody can do that. It is not possible to imagine all this exactly like it is here. So you have to actually get absorbed with your heart and soul in reading, hearing, in describing, in relishing. So this is the opportunity for you, all of us. The same experience which the Kumaras are having, the same experience which Brahma is having. Brahma also, he is in between telling, no, unfortunate are the people who are completely ignorant about what is Vaikuntha. Unfortunate people are simply absorbed in some material affairs in this world. Brahma is thinking very unfortunate people. They have no interest in spiritual subject matter. In Bhagavatam, they have no interest. Same feeling we should also get when we read Bhagavatam, when we hear Bhagavatam. We should also get the same feeling that Brahma is getting when he is describing the Devatas. But unlike the Devatas, because Devatas, what happens? They hear Brahma. And for some time they are like, wow, wonderful, Vaikuntha Loka. And after some time they attend to something else, in every possibility they will forget. We should not be like the Devatas. Because our other activities are also Krishna conscious activities only. We don't have any material duties. By Krishna Balaram's mercy, by Prabhupada's mercy, we don't have any material duties. Devatas have to attend to material duties. Is it not? Correct? So we are in a more fortunate position than the Devatas. Please remember this. Always remember this. We are in a more fortunate position. Our only business is Krishna consciousness. We know the business, we know their work, we know their engagement, we know their concern. Only Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we should always remember this and take full advantage of our unique situation, unique position that we have. And then all your other problems, so-called problems, will all become insignificant. You will just forget it. You will never bother about it. You will not consider that as anything important. whole consciousness will be different, will change. Your consciousness will change. Krishna consciousness means a change of consciousness. Complete change of consciousness. That is desirable. That is advancement. Okay, I'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.